I'm Thomas. I work at SNCF, the French railway company. I'm a techie railroader. So I worked there for 20 years now. I spent most of my time in embedded system engineering, and I've moved to the Docker and Kubernetes ecosystem in 2018. So SNCF, it's a big company, and we've got a central IT division, which is called SNCF Solutions. So this is where we take all the governance and we build all the solutions for the group. And we've got a nice logo for my team, the platform team, in charge of all the Kubernetes platform, Docker experience, etc. For SNCF. So SNCF, it's big. So it's well known as a train company, but we operate worldwide. We move 15 million people per day by train, by public transportation. We operate in 170 countries, and as we are well known for train transportation, we also got two big subsidiaries in charge of transportation in cities, which is Keolis, and the logistic and the truck transportation, which is Geodis, and Geodis operates in the US mostly. And everything is big. So we are roughly 300,000 people in the company. We've got thousands of trucks, thousands of trains, thousands of train stations, thousands of kilometers of tracks in charge, and a huge CA. We spend 2 billion euros per year in IT and digital solutions. So everything goes by the numbers. Everything we do something, we do it big. And regarding our container and our cloud native solutions, so we were born in the public cloud, but in the public cloud. And before talking about Talos, there's a lot of context behind it that I'm going to explain to you. So the story begins basically when I arrived at SNCF Solutions, and we had a colossal plan to get rid of our legacy data centers, which were operating for roughly 15 to 20 years. So they were obsolete, etc. So we had to do something with it. And we started with what we called our migration factories. So we had to move 2,000 applications in production, 15 virtual machines running in 5 different data centers. So everything had to shut down in 2 years. So 2018, 2020, with simple strategic plan, so mostly lift and shift. So we take everything in data centers, we put it in the cloud with small replatforming. And we had this small line underneath where we had projects that wanted to redesign everything, so go full path or bring Kubernetes in the equation. So we started with it, and the plan was to move to Azure, AWS, and a brand new data center in Equinix. And a simple plan, okay, if you can use SaaS solution, then PaaS solution, then IaaS, so VMs in the public cloud, and because we've got appliances, bare metal applications are very data sensitive, you fall back to the new data centers in Equinix. So simple plan, but big. Okay, 20 IT divisions, 2,000 applications, like I said. So it was a big operation with a lot of money involved in it. So did we make it in time with our 2,000 applications? Of course not. Okay, it was too optimistic. When you dig, okay, if you look on top of your silver tower, everything looks the same, but not. But anyway, in 2025 now, we are okay. Okay, 70% of our applications are in the public clouds. 30% had to stay in the data center, so we are good. So it's 2025, but we finished it many years ago, but not in 2020. But this huge program, what's important to say, it's this huge program allowed us to build the first cloud-native platforms, okay? Because you need to invest money to build the platforms, etc. So that was the key element that allowed us to build it. And as it was brand new and quite ambitious, we had full autonomy, full automation in mind, managed services. So even in 2018, when we started it, so AKS and EKS are not as they are now. Okay, on AKS clusters, you could not do node autoscaling, and there were a lot of features missing in it. But even though we still had our first version of cloud native solutions, okay, and cloud native platforms, and it was quite easy because using managed services like the AKS on AKS, basically it's PaaS made of PaaS and IaaS. Okay, so you just assemble things that are well engineered by Amazon and Microsoft. And one thing we were certain of is, okay, we don't want to do it the hard way. Okay, you don't want to manage etcds and control planes, etc. The less you got, the better you are, unless you get paid to do it the hard way. Okay, so we had, because like I said, we have 70% of the applications running in the public cloud, but we still got 30% of it running in a data center. So at some point, we had to do something for them. And so these are basically critical applications, so very, very difficult and very hard to build something for them. And here is the project. Okay, we are in 2021. It's called the on-prem CAS solution. And here are the specs, basically a desert, because we were asked to build something in a DMZ with no services at all. Even if you want to get a machine, it's a manually scripted operation if you want to start a machine. So it was very, very complex, and we had to do something with it. So at the time, we only got simple machines running with Ubuntu on it, and we were searching for a Kubernetes distribution. So we looked at what was available at the time, kubeadm, RKE, Rancher RKE, or even Talos, who already existed in 2021. But we wanted a Kubernetes distribution, so we went with Rancher. Because at the time, it's the time, if you recall correctly, when they released RKE2 with full of promises, etc. So we said, okay, we're gonna use it. So we're gonna work with the historical team in the DMZ and just put this simple distribution on top of it. We did not want it to use Rancher Manager, etc., etc. Just a simple distribution. And this is what we did. Okay, a full Excel as code platform. Okay, because when you put Kubernetes on top of the silos, what you build is a spaghetti plate. Okay, and impossible is nothing with Excel, so everything is Excel-based. So you need to fill forms, and you give it to the team, and they do it. If you're lucky, it's okay at the first time, but very often it's not. And this is what's the product you get. Okay, so maybe we are unlucky, but I'm not sure. I think many companies lived this kind of experience. But it works great for the application. So the client who paid us to get a Kubernetes cluster working for their workloads, it works, no problem. Okay, it's very critical. It benefits all the resiliency functionality of a Kubernetes cluster, so it's okay. But it took us 1 year to put the damn RKE2 distribution on top of our custom-made standard SNCF Ubuntu. So 1 year, because the operating system team, they create many things inside of the operating system, so it's very complicated. As we got many teams, and everybody loves RSI, so we had the RSI of the dev, of who's responsible of what in the spaghetti. And every change in the infrastructure is a challenge. So you want to add a node in a cluster, good luck with it. You need to, because we built everything on Ubuntu 20, which is end of life, okay, we need to change the operating system version. We need to move to Ubuntu 24. Okay, we are still figuring out how we're going to make it. Okay, it's very, very, very challenging and very, very complex. So it relies on the talk this morning about the complexity. This is a very, very complex system. And basically, if we've got a customer who wants a new cluster, it takes a month to start a new cluster, if everything goes well. Okay, And it's hard, okay? It's very hard to work with this kind of solution. Why? Because it's hard to bring the cloud native and the new visions of how you manage infrastructure to the historical teams, okay? They know to run the production. They do it they did for 20 years, maybe. They know their system is working, okay? You cannot change it. And it's hard also for the team, because I'm in charge of the cloud platform team, to keep the team motivated to work on this project, okay? We had to give up so many core features in the infrastructure in order to make it work, okay? So that's very hard. And do you want to scale this solution? No, of course not, okay? It works, okay? We said when we built it and it was in production, we said, okay, never. We're gonna never do it like this. It's gonna be a very specific use case. Okay, we're not very proud of it, etc. Did we scale it? Yes, of course. Of course. Why? Because at the time, we had and you all know, the Broadcom and VMware situation. So we had another IT division who were using VMware Tanzu. So they had to quit the solution in emergency due to the licensing model, etc., etc. And that was the only thing we had. It was another DMZ, other teams, other legacy teams, etc., etc. So we had to do it. So I won't explain it more, but you think you understand the situation. And so it's behind us, it's in production, it works, it's hard, it's complex, etc. And in 2023, there's the sovereignty concerns that started. So for us, it was in 2023, and we had Equinix, so the data center we got during the migration factory, where we had extra room in it, okay, because we were thinking of moving a lot of application and a lot of hardware in Equinix, and we had extra room. So we had to fill the data center. So here is the new big plan, building a private cloud in Equinix. Why not? We can do it, okay? We were very skilled with the public cloud. So why not building our own private cloud? And it took us 2 years of research and development, okay, to manage in order to find this. Basically, which stack are we gonna use in our private cloud, okay? And basically, there's 2 teams involved in it, my team, the legacy teams. So we could go bare metal, Kubernetes as a main orchestrator, KubeVirt, etc. on top of it, because this is something very common you can see in conferences at KubeCon or over events. And the legacy teams, which are in front of their VMs, their pet VMs. They want to build VMs all the time and keep the VM all the time. So basically day one, because it was kind of a trade-off, and we went with OpenStack. Okay, the choice was to use OpenStack as the main orchestrator, Ceph as a storage, etc., etc. And it was right in the middle of the Broadcom situation, so OpenStack at this time regained some fame among the different solutions. So we said, okay, we can do it like this, but regarding Kubernetes, we're going to do it cloud-like. That means we want the same experience as we can get with an EKS cluster on AWS or an EKS cluster on Azure. So this time, we do it our way, with no concessions, okay? We don't want to reproduce, we do not want it to reproduce the DMZ situation, but you still have to work with the legacy teams. Okay? You don't have the choice, it's in the data center, so you have to work with the data center teams. So hopefully, when you bring OpenStack in the equation, it tackles most of the concerns regarding the networking, the load balancing, all the services. You've got great APIs, you've got Terraform providers, etc., in order to provision everything. So what I did is I asked to bring a new team among all the existing teams in charge of OpenStack. Okay, so you've got a new stack, OpenStack, a new solution with a new team. And you make sure this team has a modern mindset. That's important. And we became BFF, okay? So, because you share the same mindset regarding how you need to manage the infrastructure, etc. Okay, we've got an OpenStack, but if you want to run Kubernetes, you need an operating system. So you still need to involve the last remaining team, which is the operating system team. As it's a legacy team, what you should do, you should work like with legacy methods, so vCycle. Okay, you fall back to it. Rewrite the specs of what we want. Basically, what do we want? An immutable operating system, hosting a Kubernetes distribution. What we did, we took 70% of the functionality of Talos, and we wrote it down in the spec. Nice and easy, because at the time we did this, we already knew we want something similar to Talos. So let's go. vCycle, we write, we wait, we test, we rewrite something, reprecise something, etc., etc. What happened? 1 year of failure. They never managed to implement a custom-made immutable operating system with only 70% of the Talos capabilities. Never. And so after a year, we managed to kill the idea of being able to doing something custom-made. And it's not a matter what is important, it's not a matter of technical skills, okay? Because in this particular team, the operating system team, they are very expert in the operating systems. It's just a matter of vision, okay? When we ask for immutable operating system with, you've got a problem on the node, you kill it and you pop a new one, etc., etc. Everything we know, we experience every day in the public cloud. This is something we wanted, and they were not aligned at all, okay? They wanted SSH to connect to the node. They wanted everything they are used to. And once we managed to kill this, the path to open source solution were open for us, okay? So back to choosing a solution, okay? So this time, it wasn't a matter of Kubernetes distribution. We wanted an immutable operating system. So basically, the red line is Talos, okay? And this is where we chose, when we chose to use it. So the lesson learned about it, it's failing is sometimes a necessary evil, okay? You have to fail in order to reach your goal, okay? It's important. And this is what we did. This was the only method I found working with the legacy teams. We need to get rid of all the existing solutions, team, etc., etc. Because if you want the full cloud-native experience, you need to review everything, how you manage your network, your storage, your load balancing, etc., etc. Building just running a simple Kubernetes, there's no point of it, okay? You don't have the cloud-native experience with just running a Kubernetes cluster. You want to automate everything around the clusters. And last but not least, great products come with great people, okay? It's just remember, it's just a matter of vision. And it's not a technical issue. We've got plenty of technical solutions to achieve it, okay? It's just how you want to build it and how you want your customer to experience the solution you build. So did I lie about my talk? Because if you recall correctly, in the name of my talk, it just says how we became cloud native in 6 months. So yes and no, okay? So because as soon as you got the right foundations, which took 2 years for us, you can build in 6 months a full cloud native platform, okay? Sorry, it was a busy title, but this is our experience, and this is where the complexity is, basically. So how you bring your vision to historical team, etc., etc. And then the rest, it's very easy. Okay, we've got all the tooling. You can do Terraform, Cluster API, GitOps, etc., etc. Everything is very, very matured, even in my team, because we already had more than 200 clusters running on the public cloud. So, okay, we can add all these features in the data center, in the private cloud. And this is very important regarding experience. This is the simplest representation I use for my internal customers when we talk about a Kubernetes solution. Because it's very easy to draw a lot of lines, a lot of complex representation of the Kubernetes platform. But basically, what the customer wants is this. Okay, if they want a Kubernetes endpoint, namespace to sort the containers, cloud-native features, disposable CPU and RAM, okay, and eventually a dedicated IP range if they've got custom things to do with it. And this was the core vision we had for our customers, because we have platform running on Azure, AWS, and in the private cloud. And it's the same story I can tell my customers, my internal customers, with it. And regarding experience, so this is the big map of the landscape, the implementation of the landscape we've got. So on the far right, you can see our Brave Excel as code infrastructure. And so the experience is the same for the customers, but what's important is that the experience is the same for the platform team. Okay, so when we built the private cloud, so it's basically the Sidoro column here. The goal was to reuse most of the tooling and most of the practices we've got in public cloud with Talos and OpenStack. And what's important is this part here, because Talos is mostly located here on the node management. Okay, so as building this solution, so we got the same node management on the private cloud compared to what we can get on the public cloud. So Talos competes perfectly with a bottle rocket operating system in an EKS. We've got automatic updates, the rolling upgrades are seamless, etc., etc. As a platform team, it's very, very convenient to use Talos in the equation because of it. And we have also a killing feature in the data center in the private cloud, which is the node autoscaling. So in order to achieve it, we use cluster autoscaler, which is very common in the Kubernetes world, and we use it with cluster API as a provider. So that's the only way, the simplest way we found in order to achieve it. And the rest is very classical. Okay, you want to have policies in the cluster. We use Keyverno on every stack, on every cluster. We use Datadog, etc., etc., etc. The rest is not very relevant. But in order to operate the node and the cluster, even the Kubernetes upgrades, okay, it's very, very easy to do it in the public cloud. Okay, you just change a few things and it's okay. But now, even in the private cloud with Talos, it's as easy as an EKS or an EKS cluster. So the situation once the production is launched, because the private cloud is in production now, so we are loading it up with a lot of application in it. The cluster provisioning, it's 30 minutes now compared to a month. So that's quite quicker. The cluster growth, we managed to start 10, but I think now we are maybe running 15 clusters in 6 months. It took us 4 years to start 14 clusters with RKE2 on the former method. So we are still in running period, so we are only loading up standard application. The critical ones, they're going to arrive in 2026. So we're still, learning how to manage the platform correctly, etc., etc. Day 2 operations and upgrades, they are on demand, they are easy. It's not a challenge anymore, okay? You don't have to plan things and to imagine crazy scenarios with the legacy teams in order to achieve it. And no more drift. This is something I didn't mention when I was on the RKE2 part with the legacy teams. When you've got pet VMs, okay, they are all different. Even though these teams, they guarantee you that they are managing it correctly with central systems, etc., they are all different. If you look at the libraries inside, the components inside, the versions, etc., you're always going to find out that there's a different version among all the same virtual machines in your cluster. Okay, and that's not helpful because when you've got problems, you don't know if it's because of them. Because there's a driver somewhere or a version of lib somewhere in the operating system that has changed. So that's it. So that's pretty good, actually. And we are scaling, and having the node auto-scaling is going to bring us most of the applications that are remaining in the data centers. Okay? We've got very critical applications. We've got one part of the application in charge of managing all of our customers that are buying tickets from the website. So when we are opening the tickets sales for Christmas or for holidays, we've got a huge amount of requests per minute in order to buy the tickets. We've got, I don't know, maybe 10,000 tickets sold per minute during the season. So we need to scale the customer database applications, okay? So it needs to scale up quickly and down. What we do today is we have a set of VMs dimension for the maximum peak in the data center in order to take it. So that's a very, 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 very important feature. And we still got concerns about what we made, even though it's great and it's working perfectly. We have created a strong coupling between OpenStack and Talos, okay? Because this is a private cloud experience platform, so we need OpenStack. So if we want to shut down what we did in the DMZ, we need the OpenStack team to open up OpenStack in the DMZ in order to put the Kubernetes solution. So that's one of the concerns, but it's more like an internal concern. And the next two are more related to Talos. So for us, Cluster API is very strategic. It's a core component for us, as we provide all the clusters in the public cloud with Cluster API. It's used as the node autoscaler for the private cloud. So we rely on it strongly. And Omni, in what I explained, as we've got a lot of tooling already in place in the public cloud, Omni is no need for us. It's not, it's no need for us. I won't say much about it. And regarding the open source distribution of Talos, so this is something very important because I have a lot of talks with other big companies in France. And open source is gaining a lot of visibility when we need to choose solutions. So we, as for example in SNCF, when we need to find a new solution, we have to, it's now mandatory, to look at open source solutions. We need to evaluate open source solutions first, and if we don't have anything in open source, we fall back to paid version or paid solution. And Talos is open source. But there's something like what we are looking for is some kind of well-governed open source. And one of the idea, if you want to scale up the usage of Talos as open source, is to find a foundation to govern it. And once there's something like this in terms of governance, you'll see you'll get a bigger adoption of the Talos operating system. But anyway, it works great as it is, and for us, so it's in our private cloud. It's the market share for us is only 30% of our applications, so it's a very specialized ecosystem. It works great as it is. Okay, do we need to extend it to other use cases? Maybe edge things or something. We've got a lot of edge things. I don't know yet. We don't know yet. We are still working on this part, but that's very, very promising. And that's it. And I think we've got 5 minutes for questions, if you've got questions.
Anyone? Raise your hand, I'll bring the mic around if you get a question.
So then, as of today, you have like 3 different flavors, right, of Kubernetes that you are using. So you're using EKS, ACK, Talos, and then the question is, on top of them, the stack that you are using is kind of the same one for all of them. For example, in terms of CNI, secret management, etc., ingress controllers. So is the same for all of them, or in each of them, for example, in EKS, you are using the AWS solution.
There are slight differences regarding the storage and the load balancing, because you rely on external components, but the core components of the Kubernetes solutions are exactly the same. So we use Cilium on every clusters. We use Kyverno on every clusters, etc., etc. So we've got a selected piece of solution from the landscape that we reuse on every one of them.
Following up on the 3 different operating systems, like per AWS and Azure, and for their own private data center, do you have any plans of like killing off Bottle Rocket and the whatever it's called on Azure, and just
No.
use the Talos for all of them?
No, because what we manage, we don't have exotic use cases running on top of Kubernetes. Okay, this is very classical containers running, Java containers, node containers, etc. So the nodes and the operating system doesn't have to be tweaked a lot. It's just disposable nodes and just CPU and RAM to fuel the containers. So when we use AKS or EKS, we prefer to rely on what is built in the managed solution instead of bringing something that we could add on top of it.
So like the timeline of retiring the RKE2 clusters, is it decided, or how long they run?
As soon as we can bring OpenStack in the DMZ. So the plan is somehow in 2026. I think we will be able to start it. So once it's set up, we can go and destroy everything.
So, Monica, you talk about DMZ. You have a big intranet versus DMZ.
Yeah.
On-premise. Do you have provisioning bare metal Talos cluster?
No.
Okay.
No, it's as I said, when we were thinking of building a private cloud, we were thinking of using much more bare metal with Kubernetes as the main orchestrator, but we decided not to. So we put OpenStack in order to limit the needs of bare metal usage. Okay, so naturally you don't have a virtual machine. You don't use a KubeVirt. No. No. You Kubify. No, because when we brought KubeVirt to the legacy teams, this is a feeling that I have all the time. I'm like a Satanist in the IT because I want to destroy the machines. I want to get rid of all the existing things, etc., etc. KubeVirt, no, they were not ready for it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, probably time for one more.
So just a quick question on, so what do you run OpenStack on top of? Do you have like a traditional OS, or is that also on Talos?
No, so we are using the canonical version of OpenStack. So the team is using the full OpenStack experience, the full canonical experience around it. So mass, extra.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks everyone. You got about 5 minutes, I think, and we'll start again.